All right, here is my course on identifying a ideal buyer persona. I wanted to create this course because I find it particularly relevant to SDRs, both from my own mistakes I made in the past, as well as witnessing some of my colleagues. Um, I'm convinced that many SDRs spend a lot of their time going after the wrong personas. And you can imagine that's an issue because, right, we only have so many hours in the day. And with those 40 hours, it's imperative that we're spending the time sending out cadences and net messaging to individuals who will potentially be interested or potentially be decision makers or very influential to decision makers. And so, what I've seen through my own mistakes and again through colleagues is lots of time being spent going after folks who will never move the needle on a deal, who will never actually show up to a Zoom call, or who will never just even answer the phone in the first place. And so I wanted to dedicate this video on how you can identify the ideal customer for your account specifically. And so I'll walk you guys through kind of what I would do if I were selling Snowflake. I wanted to pick a company that um, I've never sold for before, but something I'm curious about just because I've seen that Snowflake seems to be a pretty cool company to work for. I'm seeing them posting on LinkedIn all the time. And so just kind of wanted curious on that. One thing I will say is before I even kind of go through this is I think I walked through this on a previous video is one of the best places to really know who your ideal buyer persona is talking with your account executives and then looking through, your CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever to look at who were the conversations with in the previous closed won opportunities, whether that be an account you're working on or if it's a net new account, an account with a similar industry and similar company size. Who were the people that signed off on the deals? Because you can use that information as you start planning out lists to go after in your current account. If your company is not super mature, or if it's hard for you to navigate Salesforce, or if your account executives aren't very talented, um, and even if they are, it's still good to do what I'm about to show you just to kind of verify who you want to go after. Okay, so one of my favorite ways to figure out who I need to hit up in my accounts is on the company website and customer stories. Specifically, all I do is go through here and look at who was being quoted. Okay, so here we have a vice president of CX Analytics. That means if you have a vice president of CX Analytics or vice president of analytics in your account that you want to hit up, they'd be a great person to talk to because they probably have similar issues, or even if they don't have similar issues, they're going to be the person who's probably going to sign off on the deals. TS Imagine, never heard of this company before. Anyone quoted? Okay, COO, Chief Data Analytics Officer. That might be a little high to get to unless you have a good relationship with that account. Still good to keep in mind. Siemens. Nothing. Sky. VP of Solutions Development. So again, I'm only selecting the titles. I don't really care about the name of the person. I just want to use these titles as I build out my list. Whoop. I think they do the watches, right? Um, Director of Business Analytics. And we'll just do these 6 for now. Another CTO. That's a little, but it's a city person. Okay, let's see if there's anyone else. Oh, Motley Fool, they do stock investing. Okay, let's say Top Drill. Anyone quoted here? Data and Analytics Manager. Okay, that's enough for now. So all that to say, you can already get a pulse from who are the people being quoted, who had problems that needed solved with your product, right? And this is obvious, but it's good to have a refresher. You want to sell to the people with problems. And you also want to learn, as a side note, what kind of problems you solve for. This is important down the line, or actually from the beginning it's important, but I wanted to briefly walk through how I would start building out lists. And so what I would do is, okay, now I have this bank of titles, and I would probably do this for 10 or maybe even 20 different customers, and figure out who are the people that were being quoted in these customers' profile stories, because these are the people who are willing to put their neck on the line and talk about how great your product is and who really enjoyed using your product. And so you want to go after those people in your accounts. And so what I would do is I would go on Sales Navigator. I don't know what tool you use to kind of go after folks in your accounts. Maybe you just have regular LinkedIn. I don't know, whatever your company pays for. Sales Nav is nice, but I could go, Wells Fargo maybe. Yeah, pretty big company. And I could just start, Director of Business Analytics in here, for example. Boom. This guy seems good. So I would save him to a list, you know. Oh my gosh, oh wait, I probably shouldn't be showing all that. Anyways, actually, it's no big deal for you to know that. But anyways, I would start going through all these analytics directors. There's quite a bit. Director, executive, data analytics. And then, boom, I already have a list of people that I could start hitting up. And ideally, you have some good proof points in the financial industry for other directors of data analytics. So, when you're looking through here, maybe you want to find companies that have a similar industry, meaning if you're selling to oil and gas, you may not want to go after Whoop or pick a quote from Whoop. But all that to say, these customer stories are super helpful as a way to kind of confirm who you want to go after. And one more thing I'll note is sometimes it's important to, if you're having difficulty, and I mentioned this in a previous video, getting in touch with the VP of analytics or the director of analytics because they're too busy, it still might be worth going after the folks who are one or two levels, maybe just one level below them. So like a manager of data analytics, so that you can try to uncover if the pain points are similar, like on a cold call, and then use the messaging that that person gives you and roll up to the VP of analytics. I did want to create this video though, just because I think you're making a mistake if you're going too many levels away from, this list of people. Meaning if you're going after senior analytics engineer, or even if you're going, or sometimes C-suite might be too difficult as well. Like I know they were quoted, but you're usually not going to get a conversation with a C-suite unless it's a very small company. And so, I would try to hit up these folks, the VPs, the directors for this specific instance, because that seems to be the ideal buying profile. And if I'm having difficulty reaching out to them, or if I want to learn a little bit more or learn a little bit more about the potential pain of what I'm selling into, I might go a level below. So the director, so I might go after managers as well. But all that to say, way better than spending your time going after, VPs of who knows, a VP of sales. And hopefully you're not going after that, but it's very important to narrow down who are you trying to sell to. So both the level, the seniority, and then also the department that you're selling into. So very important to narrow that down. Hopefully your CRM will give you this information. Hopefully your ecosystem will give this information. But if not, and even if they are, make sure you go on your company website, look at the customer stories, and learn and see who's being quoted so that you can have a really strong point of view on who you want to go after in the accounts that are yours to own. So hope this is helpful and hope to see you on the next video.
Do you want to become an account executive faster? Check out my Skool community. You'll get weekly live trainings, Q&A sessions, downloadable resources, accountability to stay on track, and access to a network of SDRs, account executives, and myself for personalized guidance. Go ahead and click the link in the description below to join now and accelerate your career.